5 in MotoGP. As I say, 16 years and 1 year ago, a certain young man from Italy bounced onto the Grand Prix scene and won his first Grand Prix.
Well, it's just Jerry Burge is just asking me if we're on the beam. Unfortunately not, Jerry. We're down here on 6th position on the grid.
Better than the beam,
better than the beam, Nick Harris says. And he wants to talk about cricket again. Second row of the grid, 6th place in qualifying, best dry qualifying this year. But what are your expectations for Valentino Rossi in this race this afternoon?
Well, we usually try and move forward. We've been pretty competitive all weekend. I mean, it probably would have been 7th had Casey been here, but we're in front of Bautista and Brno, which many times we're not. The bike's been working well since the first practice, and we've pretty much held on to 6th in every session. So yeah, we'll see what happens up the front, and hopefully we might be able to pick up a place or 2 on the way through.
Everybody's asking, podium possibility for Valentino Rossi here? The dream podium?
That would be nice, but we'll see.
Well, keep our fingers crossed, Jerry. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, this is Alvaro Bautista, who Valentino Rossi has finished in front of. We saw Stefan Bradl earlier, 7th in the World Championship. Good ride by the Spaniard at Indianapolis on that San Carlo Grassini Honda. A lot of speculation about his future. He's a 125cc winner in 2006, but he crashed out of the MotoGP races here on the last 2 years. So quite a tough time for Alvaro Bautista, just worrying more than anything, of course, about his future. A slightly smaller grid this time round, of course. No Steve Rapp, no Aaron Yates, no Casey Stoner, and no Nicky Hayden. Here's Carol Abram. We had a word with him. He just wants to get started, I think. Nerves kicking in.
Well, I'm going to take my life into my hands again and just grab a quick word with Cal Crutchlow. Cal, front row here at Brno, new contract in the pocket. Podium finish should be a nice way to round out a good weekend, eh?
Yeah, it'd also, be a good way for you to round out the weekend by losing a little bit more.
I had salad last night.
You've done a good job since yesterday, so I'm pleased. No, it's hopefully that'll be the, what we're going to aim for. We'll try our best and see what we can come up with. But it's definitely going to be a tough race. This morning was wet and we didn't get the best situation there. So we'll see what we've got for this afternoon.
Thanks for this afternoon, then, Cal.
Yeah, this is Randy de Prunier, former 250cc winner. He has qualified 10th, 4th row of the grid. He is the leading CRT bike. And of course, alongside him will be his teammate, Aleix Espargaro. And there he is. It's been a great battle between those two. And Yoni Hernandez joins him on the 4th row of the grid. And of course, he finished 9th, Yoni Hernandez, in Indianapolis, and he was the top CRT bike in that particular race. Been a good season for Aleix Espargaro. Watched his brother, helped his brother earlier in the Moto2 race, and now it's his turn to go out there and perform. Here's Yoni Hernandez. Crashed here last year and broke his hand in the Moto2 race. A couple of crashes also on Friday for him. So you get good value for money, don't you, with Yoni Hernandez? There's no half quarter. He'll be going for it, but he rode exceptionally well at Indianapolis. This very different circuit, but he's right up there in that CRT fight with Randy de Prunier and Aleix Espargaro. Well, there is the grid. It's 22 laps. It's a fair old way in. The track not in the best condition after the heavy overnight rain.
It's Tony Elias lining up again in place of Hector Barbera, still resting up at home with those fractured vertebrae. And let's hope that Hector's back soon. I hope he's fit soon. But of course, it's still great to see Tony Ellis out there. Won his first ever Grand Prix at this circuit back in 2001 in the 125cc class. And he's been here a couple of times on the podium in MotoGP as well.
Certainly had. He was second in 2008. I think that was on the Ducati, wasn't it? And 2009 on the Honda.
Riding for this team, for the Cassini Honda team.
And then third on the Honda. Yeah. So he's got a really good record here. This is Colin Edwards. Speculation about what he will be riding in 3 weeks' time at Misano.
We're told that he should have an Aprilia by then. Yeah. Comments then were, which one? We don't know. But still there is the hope that he will be riding an ART machine at the next event in Misano, but they will be testing here on Monday. So we just wait and see what happens on that one, really.
7 minutes to go before the start of the race. This is Matteo Pacini. got a decent record here. He's had a couple of podiums in the 125 and 250cc classes. Been declared a dry race. Moto 3 earlier was declared a wet race. Moto 2, the track dried, a dry race, and now MotoGP, a dry race.
Just doing an interview with Italian TV there, Mattia. Got rid of that tash. I'm a bit disappointed about that. I was quite enjoying that.
He's got the Gavin Emmett beard now, look.
Nothing wrong with that. The grid all forming. There's James Ellison down there with the BBC.
Yeah, made his Grand Prix debut here 8 years ago, James Ellison. Finished 15th in Indianapolis, a bit miffed because he thought he'd finished in 14th place, but then Steve Rapp's team made a protest, and so he did pick up a single point in 15th place. So that's James Ellison, who's qualified 17th and will start from the 6th row of the grid. Alongside him, Even Silva, and Even Silva has ridden here previously, so it's not a new circuit for the Spanish rider. Tough old first year, of course, in MotoGP, running that Avintia Blueson's Kawasaki. I'm bringing up the rear of the grid, Danilo Petrucci. He's got a record here. He's ridden here a couple of times, and he was second here in the 600cc Euro stock race in 2009. So at least he's been here before, Danilo Petrucci.
That makes a difference to some of the other places we go to this year, of course. He's learning on the fly a little bit, really.
Well, it's going to be an interesting battle. As I say, the track not as in good condition. It certainly was for qualifying when Lorenzo set those very, very fast laps. Danny Pedrosa not really showing us what he could do in qualifying after crashing early on, but very, very quick in practice, and podium places up for grabs, I reckon.
Definitely. Once Casey Stoner's out of the picture, of course, it really does open it up. And this year, when he's finished off the podium, of course, he finished off the podium in Barcelona. Dovizioso was third. Finished off the podium in Germany. Dovizioso was third. Finished off the podium in Mugello. Dovizioso was third. Finished off the podium in Indianapolis. And Dovizioso was third. Yeah, this is what has happened in the season so far. So 11 rounds down in the MotoGP World Championship, 7 to come. Danny Pedrosa trails Jorge Lorenzo by 18 points. And anything could happen, as we saw with Casey Stoner last time in Indianapolis. He unfortunately is not with us this weekend, back in Australia and about to undergo operation this week. We'll bring you as soon as we can, not here today, but over the next week's the latest and when he will be back. Just interesting in terms of the tyre choice. It looks like the majority of the riders going with that softer option rear tyre, and of course they go with that harder front. I think it has to be that soft option.
I think it does. This is the front row of the grid for round 12 of the championship. Danny Pedrosa, Cal Crutchlow, and the championship leader Jorge Lorenzo. Can he make it 6 wins this season here at Brno this afternoon? So welcome back to Brno. I'm Nick Harris, sitting alongside me Gavin Emmett, down in pit lane Ian Wheeler. It's round 12 of the MotoGP World Championship.
Front row, Jorge Lorenzo lines up in pole. Alongside him, Cal Crutchlow and Danny Pedrosa. Ben Spies, his teammate, heads up row 2 with Dovizioso and Valentino Rossi both scenting the chance of a podium, all three in fact.
Third row of the grid, Stefan Bradl, Alvaro Bautista and Karel Abram in front of his home crowd. And row 4, that CRT battle, Randy de Punier, Alessio Spargaro and Yoni Hernandez.
Further down, Tony Elias heads up row 5 with Michele Pirro and Colin Edwards, and it's Pezzini, Ellison and Ivan Silva. Only 19 races here this weekend. No Casey Stoner, no Nicky Hayden, who stayed back in the States, and no Hector Barbera. He's replaced by Tony Elias, of course. So Danilo Petrucci brings up the rear in 19th place. and the riders get prepared to set off on their warm-up lap. Focus from Jorge Lorenzo on pole position. Best we get a quick last word from Ian. Just as the riders set off down towards turn 1, just to know, Ian, about the conditions, because I was out there at the end of Moto 2 and it felt like there was still something in this air.
Yeah, there definitely is. There's still dark clouds, not as many as earlier, has to be said. The humidity's gone up, but thankfully the wind has dropped off a little bit. So, yeah, I think we're good to go for a dry race this afternoon here in Brno.
Let's hope so. That's what we want. To see the temperatures, though, much lower than they have been all weekend. We saw from Moto 2, Nick, as well, lap times much slower. The conditions, well, the rain overnight has really affected things.
Without a shadow of doubt. In Moto 3 it was hard to judge because the track was still a bit damp. Moto 2 the track was dry, but the lap times nowhere like they were in practice on Friday and certainly qualifying on Saturday afternoon.
And that should help us get a better race than we saw in Indianapolis, which is what we're hoping for. We admit it wasn't a classic over in the United States. It did space out pretty quick. There are a few things to talk about, of course, in the race, but here we really fancy, don't want to talk it up too much as you see the banks of fans in the stadium, but really fancy there's a very good chance that Pedrosa and Lorenzo battling at the front, and then a really good battle, maybe even including Valentino Rossi for the final podium spot. But the likes of Crutchlow and Spies will want their first of the year, and Dovizioso will want yet another podium to add to the 5 he's already taken this season.
Down at the bottom end of the circuit, coming down towards the Kevin Swans corner, there is Alessia Spargaro and Danilo Petrucci. Yeah, we're hoping it's going to be a battle royal. It's a great battle for the championship. We wanted to go all the way to the wire. It's such a shame that Casey Stone is not involved in that battle. We wish him well at home in Australia. We hope he's going to be back very soon indeed. It does appear that Nicky Hayden will be back at Misano in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, let's hope he is all fit, all ready to go. Nursing a couple of broken bones in his hands and still getting over that concussion, of course.
So it's round 12 of the MotoGP World Championship. 18 points separate Jorge Lorenzo and Danny Pedrosa. Both of them start from the front row of the grid. Sandwiched between them, Cal Crutchlow, his best ever qualifying.
Danny Pedrosa lines up on the outside. He needs to finish ahead of Lorenzo and keep it tight at the top. 18 separate them. Lorenzo on pole, Pedrosa in third. Watch out for the second row as well for the likes of Spies, Dovizioso and Rossi.
So it's round 12 of the championship. We're so pleased the conditions are dry, but the track is not in the best of condition after some very heavy overnight rain. I think the start will be vital. Cal Crutchlow in the middle there, chasing his first ever podium finish. Danny Pedrosa, his third win of the season. Jorge Lorenzo, his 6th win of the season. The lights go to red now. The Grand Prix of the Czech Republic is underway.
Not a great start from Cal Crutchlow from the front row of the grid. Very good from Danny Pedrosa, but it's Jorge Lorenzo gets off the best of the rest. And look out for Valentino Rossi, right through on the inside, through on Dovizioso. Crutchlow's going to hang on to third in front of Spies, but Rossi is up into 5th place, just in behind the American.
Good start by Jorge Lorenzo. They race down through turn 2. Down towards this very difficult downhill Esses section. This is 3 and 4.
Dovizioso back in front. There's a puff of smoke from the Ducati as it shifts down. More smoke coming out of the rear of that Ducati of Valentino Rossi. But he is through on Ben Spies. Both he and Dovizioso got through. So it's Crutchlow now in third. Dovizioso in 4th place. Rossi 5th. And Ben Spies, no. It's more mechanical problems. Maybe it wasn't Ducati. Maybe it was Ben Spies' Yamaha that was kicking out some smoke.
Ben Spies just dropping back. Oh, not more problems, please, for Ben Spies. Lorenzo leads. Good start, as we said, by Rossi. We keep an eye on Ben Spies. He's dropping further and further back. Is it another massive mechanical problem for the American?
Well, he's having to sit up every now and then. He's trying to get it going once more. Wonder what that is. But you can see Rossi's made a great start, exactly what he would have wanted. In behind Andrea Dovizioso. Bautista 6th, 7th is Bradl. Spies is in the mix somewhere in there as well. No, he's sitting up. He's got some kind of issue.
Ben Spies' misfortune just continues here at Brno.
He's got to worry Lorenzo's side of the garage. He's having these problems. A Laguna Seca, the rear spring broke. Engine blew out last time in Indianapolis. Had a couple of glitches early on in the season. He's made his own mistakes. He's the first to hold his hands up with that. But he doesn't deserve this by any stretch of the imagination.
Important now that Danny Pedrosa does not let Jorge Lorenzo get away at the front, because Lorenzo would just reel off those laps as he did in practice, certainly in qualifying, although Pedrosa matched him all the way in practice. Good to see Valentino Rossi sniffing around a podium finish.
In the dry, most of all, that's the thing. In third place is Cal Crutchlow behind the title duo. In fourth, it's Andrea Dovizioso, who's just holding off Rossi. Gap between Crutchlow and Dovizioso stands at 0.6 when they came across the line. Sorry, 0.4 across the line.
Down at turn 3, I remember Jorge Lorenzo crossing out.
You see again, more
smoke
smoke. But we've seen that before from their bike when they shift down through that. But there is smoke coming out. There's something wrong with Rossi's bike there, surely. But no, he keeps going, and it's still on the pace.
We've seen that before from the Ducatis, though, haven't we? When the engine starts to get towards end of life, gear changes, you see a puff of smoke. We've seen it with Valentino Rossi. We've seen it with Nicky Hayden. Maybe it's not something to worry about.
That's a fair old puff of smoke, though, isn't it?
It's
That's
a couple
not
of
just
times
a little whiff out, is it?
In the middle of the corner as well. Yeah, you're right, through the gear changes and changing down with the engine braking kicks in. It's almost...
Yeah.
Well, he's there, he's sticking in, and he's right in there behind Andrea Dovizioso, so it doesn't seem like there's too much of a problem as things stand. Crutchlow's still tight behind the leaders, just 4/10 behind them. He's really fancying a chance of a first podium, but do not count Dovizioso out of this one.
I just wonder, whether Ben Spies does have a problem, or whether he was just, distracted by the puff of smoke from the Ducati. Maybe something on his visor just knocked his confidence a little bit, and we may see Ben Spies come back.
Let's hope so.
Well, he's a long way down now. He's in 13th place. De Punier is in 8th. There he is, top CRT at the moment, ahead of his teammate Aleix Espargaro, and Hernandez 10th, and then it's Elias 11th, Abraham 12th, and Ben Spies just in behind those two prototype Ducatis.
Pedrosa's done a good job at the front. He hasn't let Lorenzo get away. This is the fight we want to see, and Cal Crutchlow still hanging in there. He's had a great weekend, Cal Crutchlow, re-signed from the Tech 3 team, chasing that first ever podium finish. We ride with Danny Pedrosa as Jorge Lorenzo in front of him.
And he's just 2/10 quicker than Lorenzo on that second lap there. So he's just the fastest rider out there as things stand, Pedrosa, and nothing to choose. I think he's settling into a rhythm here. And thank goodness they've been able to get him out on his #1 machine, because yesterday he clearly wasn't able to match Lorenzo's pace in qualifying, but he has done for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, of course, started the race here last year in pole position and then crashed out Danny Pedrosa. But he's right in there, as is Crutchlow. See Dovizioso. Dovizioso might want to follow Rossi, really. Have a good look at that Ducati, because, of course, Andrea Dovizioso signed a 2-year contract with Ducati this week. He will replace Valentino Rossi. 19.5 laps to go. It's how it should be. The two championship leaders out at the front. Further back, Alvaro Bautista and Stefan Bradl. They had a good battle in Indianapolis. Great ride by Randy De Punier, Aleix Espargaro, Tony Elias, Yoni Hernandez, Karel Abraham in front of his home crowd. Massive pressure on him. There's massive pressure on him at the moment coming from Ben Spies. Yeah, I do wonder if Ian's right. That puff of smoke might have really upset him.
We thought first Ducati, and then when Spies dropped back, we thought, was it the Yamaha? He's had that problem, of course, last week where his engine blew out. And look, he's right back in it now. Eases his way past Abraham. I just wonder if something affected him, or he was just really threw him. But he's back in front of Hernandez now and chasing back through, and it's so upsetting for him.
He's slicing through the CRT bikes. He's got Tony Elias in front of him. One would imagine it won't be long before it's there. We ride in the helicopter, and that is the gap between the two leaders. Little specks they may be. There's a better view of them. Jorge Lorenzo crosses the line. Still 19 laps to go. Danny Pedrosa just hanging in there. Crutchlow, Dovizioso, Rossi, Alvaro Bautista and Stefan Bradl. And Alvaro Bautista beat Bradl, didn't he, in Indianapolis. He's desperately trying to keep his ride with the Grassini team. And he's got to beat Bradl if he's going to do that. The two semi-factory Honda bikes. Must not change the tactics now for Jorge Lorenzo. He hasn't broken the field, so that's going to be interesting now.
Well, interesting for me here, Lorenzo's just gone even quicker, 206.6. We know he can set lap times consistently in the low 156s, and the tyres will go to the end of the race. So they're going towards there now. Pedrosa's shown that he can do those mid-156s, but not the consistency of Lorenzo. And Cal Crutchlow, the only other rider down into the 56 bracket as well. And he's pulling away slightly from Dovizioso. It's about a second, the gap between himself and his teammate. Yeah, new circuit record for Lorenzo. But he went about a second quicker in qualifying. And you just think he does still have more in the tank.
Well, this is the test for Dani Pedrosa. This is his most successful season ever in MotoGP, the former 125 and 250cc world champion. And can he match Jorge Lorenzo? It's a very important race. 18 points between them in the championship.
Great start from Cal Crutchlow. It's exactly what he needed, because the only other time I think he's got a decent start this year was when he was taken out then by Bautista and Lorenzo crashing. He ran wide. Okay, he lost the position to Pedrosa, but that's no, you're not really worried about that. And he hung on to third. That was the main thing. He didn't seem to get a launch away from the line quite the way he would have liked to, but he did bring it back for turn one, and he's now in third spot and in driving seat to maybe, it's very early stages, to take a first podium.
Well, Lorenzo crosses the line, leading the way, 18 laps to go. Crutchlow and Dovizioso, you will imagine, are going to be involved in the battle, as are Bradl and Bautista. This is a lot closer than it was at Indianapolis.
Down towards turn three. Dani Pedrosa's just repaid the compliment, hasn't he, to Jorge Lorenzo by setting a new fastest lap at this circuit in the race. Just shows the pace they're going at. But again, speaking to the Moto2 riders, they said grip wasn't what it was yesterday. It wasn't as good because of the rain just washing everything away, probably dragging a bit of dirt onto the track as well overnight. Clean things up a bit, but it's not always what they want. They want that rubber down there. And so there has been so much heavy rain over the last two nights, in fact, that maybe we won't see them drop right down to the low 156s, but they're pushing towards it now. One thing is, those softer tyres, won't be any doubts about them towards the end of the race.
No, they're going to last the pace all right. Psychologically, I know I keep going on about what an important race it is for Dani Pedrosa, but if he could beat Jorge Lorenzo once again,
in a straight
I think,
fight,
dead right.
And when Lorenzo's been quick all weekend, that's the thing. Jorge Lorenzo has been extremely good this weekend. It all came about, wasn't it, during qualifying? He put in those laps. He used a new engine at the start of qualifying, so they're both onto their fifth engines now here. I think Pedrosa's actually racing his fourth engine here, but Lorenzo's racing his fifth engine here today. With 6 races still to go, is the engine allocation going to come into it? So Lorenzo's brought something out that they didn't have in Indian Laguna in terms of the engine, and it's obviously working a lot better for him. But has Pedrosa got even more up his sleeve with the fact that he's able to use the one he used last time in Indianapolis?
17 laps to go. Hopefully this is going to go all the way to the wire. Crutchlow doing a good job in third place. Dovizioso not really
well,
making
it's a
that
second,
much of
0.9 again. It's very similar lap times between Crutchlow and Dovizioso. And Crutchlow needs to sort of repay that mantra to himself, keep replaying it over in his head of do not make a mistake, do not just focus, because Dovizioso won't make a mistake. Dovizioso won't do it. And in front of him, Lorenzo and Pedrosa aren't going to do it. So he's got to match them for that.
Every time the Ducati does that, I go, whoa, see what's happening.
I was going to say, it's like something out of a James Bond film. Is this some sort of new tactic from Ducati?
Wait, knives are going to come out of the sides of his tyres in a minute.
Yeah.
There is Stefan Bradl through now on Alvaro Bautista and up into 6th place. He was more than half a second quicker than Bautista on that previous lap. So the German rider has got through. And I think we're in for a battle, just as we predicted at the start, between Lorenzo and Pedrosa. Top speeds doesn't really matter too much at this circuit. They do shorten the gearing because there isn't such a long straight really at here. The acceleration seems more important. And again, pace through the corners, which is what the Yamaha always seems to have.
Yeah, Dani Pedrosa's never won a MotoGP race here. As we said, he was in pole last year and crashed out. Lorenzo's won once, but both of them have won in the smaller classes. And all riders love riding at Brno. Just look at that bank, just look at the circuit and the undulations, you understand exactly why. You cannot imagine a more different circuit to where we were 7 days ago, the flat surface in Indianapolis with the problems with the grip. This has got lots of grip despite the wet weather and is very undulating indeed.
Danny Pedrosa, of course, qualified third. Let's have a look. This is Ben Spies now coming through on Randy de Punier. So he's back up into 8th place and 6 seconds down on Alvaro Bautista. Lonely ride then now for Ben Spies. But you could have seen Pedrosa on pole quite easily if he hadn't been using his second bike. We'll go back to that in a second, Ian.
Yeah, just to confirm, I spoke to guys in the Ducati pit box. Yeah, the Ducati engine of Valentino Rossi is, as we said, it's an older engine coming to end of life. The puffs of smoke we see on gear changes, nothing to be concerned about. Well, unless you're behind him, of course.
Yeah, I've got to say, if you're behind, you might be a bit concerned. Stefan Bradl might be getting a right old whiff soon, might have it all.
Yeah, he is about 7 tenths behind, just under that now, and closing in slowly but surely on Rossi. Lots of talk at the moment about Bradl and what he'll be riding next time out. The rumour around the paddock is Johnny Ray will come here on Monday from over in Russia. He'll come over, test Stoner's bike here with a view to racing it at Misano and possibly Aragon as well, because there's no collision there with Superbike Championship. He's been a good servant to Honda over the years as Johnny Ray, and there's been a few times they've talked to him about the possibility of coming over with the Grassini team and such like, and I'm sure they are again. And the talk is that he may slip straight onto that bike, although there's a few question marks over whether Bradl will get the full factory effort, factory software, that kind of thing, because they say the mechanics aren't too different, but the factory software above all, and they might give Johnny Ray something a little less like that.
Well, to be honest, he did test Casey Stoner's bike at the beginning of the season in Malaysia, or end of last season. So I would suspect they'd give him what he knew and he would get the full factory bike.
Wouldn't that be a bit unfair on Bradl though? He's had such a fantastic season.
But as Ian pointed out, it's the home Grand Prix for the team, isn't it, Misano, where we go next? And,
no, but I say Bradl always to stay at LCR, in the LCR colours and
with
everything
the factory
like that.
bike.
With the factory bike, with the factory software above all, which is the main difference between his bike and the factory machines.
Yeah, but then to do that, you've got to have HRC or Repsol Honda.
Well, you
mechanics.
see Livio Supo's living in there at the moment.
Yeah, that's a good point, but I don't think I'd be wanting Livio Supo working on my bike, to be honest. I think his talents lie elsewhere.
Back at the front, it's a cagey old battle now, isn't it? This is, these two are just sounding each other out. Nobody's made a move. Nobody's been able to get away at the front. I've got to say the two best MotoGP riders in the world at the moment. That's with no disrespect, of course, to Casey Stoner.
Well, of course, he's laid up in Australia at the moment. But no, I think it was clear yesterday Pedrosa had to get that first bike ready, because he was talking about the second bike like he was riding a CRT machine.
Yeah,
he was.
I did the press conference and I couldn't believe he said it was so different. All the chatter problems came back. He said it was like riding a completely different bike. I had to take a lot of risks, and he just sneaked on, didn't he, after the flag had gone out.
4,000.
Yeah, 4,000 a second, got onto the front row of the grid. But this is definitely the first bike, and he's right in this fight.
Yeah, he's not letting Lorenzo go, but by the same token, Lorenzo's just in his butter phase, isn't he? Just smoothly knocking out these laps. And I don't think there'll be any concerns on either side, just tension at Yamaha and Honda as things stand, as these two climb up the hill. We want them to become bitter rivals again. They've all been too pally over the last couple of years. Yeah. And these two used to hate each other with a passion. And that's not understating it whatsoever. But they both say we've matured. We're now more rivals who respect each other, know each other has their talents, and they've grown up a lot over the last few years. But we want to see the needle again, don't we? We want to see Danny Pedrosa showing a wheel, taking a risky manoeuvre. We haven't seen anything like that just yet. We are 8 laps down, and Jorge Lorenzo has just set another fastest lap of the race. But bear in mind that Danny Pedrosa has just set a personal best lap, so it's not getting away too much. Just back in third place while we watch the battle between Rossi and Bradl, Cal Crutchlow has just opened up a bit of a gap. He's lapping a tenth or two quicker than Dovizioso every single lap. The gap between them as Bradl comes through into 5th place is 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, Stefan Bradl up into 5th place in front of Valentino Rossi. Rossi immediately fights back through turn 4.
He loves this track, and he loves doing that here. I remember him doing that so many times over the years. But I think Bradl will have the drive coming out of the corner and reclaim 5th.
Interesting about the two men at the front as well. Both of them have crashed this weekend, haven't they? Jorge Lorenzo on Friday.
And Crutchlow in 3rd.
Yeah, Crutchlow and Pedrosa both actually crashed in qualifying. So finding the limit here is not easy, and these conditions are not good. And okay, they're going to fight it out at the front, but they've got to be very, very careful. Alvaro Bautista now joining in this battle and closing up on Valentino Rossi. Helmut Bradl, who won the 250 race 1991, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's won here.
Yeah.
Bradl's won here as well.
Dad's
So
won and son's won.
I wonder
here.
how much advice he's been able to give Verstappen. I think now Helmut sort of says, I'm just taking a back seat. Ben Spies, that's Ben Spies has gone down.
Yeah, Ben Spies out of the race
Out
for
of
the
8th place.
third time in succession. A crash for Ben Spies. He is out of the race here in Brno. His bad luck continues.
Oh dear, yes, Yamaha looked despondent there, and he's now said, look, this bad luck's gone a little bit too far now. It's a bad season all round. I need to take it race by race. Ooh, I just thought Pedrosa might make a move. Yeah, but Speed's just saying, I've just got to try and do what I can with these remaining races. And while there's all this talk that he may leave MotoGP, there's a big rumour going around in the paddock. He's in conversations with Honda Gresini, with San Carlo, about the possibility of them offering him a ride. So he may not be gone from MotoGP just yet. And I wonder if his luck's any better on a Honda. He's been with Suzuki in the past, in the AMA. He's been with Yamaha across and brought them through, or came through with them into MotoGP. Is there a chance of him switching to Honda, I wonder? Let's have a look at this from Spies. This is going to be his crash. Oh, just drops away from him in the stadium section.
Cruel luck for Ben Spies. 3 races, no finishes for the American. Spies out once again. Just kneels in the gravel trap. Desperate times for Ben Spies.
Don't know how much he knew about that crash. Tom Houseworth and his team will be looking at all the data very shortly to find out what's gone wrong there for the American. But his teammates, meanwhile, Jorge Lorenzo still leads the way. But the gap between these two is a cigarette paper.
Yes, it's very not easy, but Dani Pedrosa can follow Lorenzo, but when is he going to make a move and try and overtake him for the lead?
Yeah, I just wonder where he's going to do it. That's what I'm thinking.
Where and when? Yeah.
Does he want to do it as soon as possible? Well, he's being told it's okay.
Right ball.
I think that's it. Wait. Just bide your time.
Yeah. What a great pit board. I love that. Okay.
Just a gap back to Crutchlow is 4 seconds. You could just see him at the end of that little short straight coming up the hill. Andrea Dovizioso is now 1.76 behind Crutchlow. So Crutchlow is here hoping for a first podium perhaps. You could just see them at the top of the picture. And Webrits, of course, slightly, ever so slightly biased.
No.
We try not to be, of course. But when was the last podium you can remember in MotoGP? When was it?
Jeremy McWilliams,
Year
Donington
2000.
Park 2000.
Ivan Silva forced to retire from the race on board the BQR Avintia Blueson's bike. And yeah, problems there. You just see him twisting the throttle, it's gone. Sorry, Ivan. Early bath for him.
So Silva out of the race. He walks away unhurt, which is the main thing, of course. And I'm not going to call it a battle at the front. It's almost a game at the front at the moment, isn't there? Head gains have come into it now. Pedrosa seemingly quite happy to sit there. But sitting there and actually overtaking Jorge Lorenzo will not be easy. And when to do it? Because Lorenzo, certainly in qualifying, had the pace. And as Gav said, in practice, it's Dani Pedrosa that certainly held the candle. And you thought he was the one that could set the pace. This is what we wanted. We wanted a head-to-head fight between the two championship leaders. We've got it. I know sometimes people like a race when there's lots of people involved. I sometimes just love a head-to-head battle between two riders, certainly when it's two riders fighting for the World Championship. We ride with Dani Pedrosa. Let's just watch him. Yeah, this is the chicane at the bottom of the hill. Now it's the long run up. 5th gear, back down through the gearbox. 13 and 14. He'll be lining this up perhaps for the last lap. It's not a particularly long run to the line when they get out of this right-hander. 3rd gear for Dani Pedrosa. There is the finishing line. They'll cross it momentarily up into 6th to turn 1. 11 laps to go of this Brno circuit.
I have a sneaking suspicion, that Danny Pedrosa is just going to sit there quite happily.
Yeah.
And if, Lorenzo manages to keep these lap times going, which we know he's completely capable of, he'll wait for the last lap into turn 1 on the brakes.
Right. Any money going on, Matt?
No, obviously not.
Not that I'd bet against you, because I really don't know. Alvaro Bautista has now got past Valentino Rossi. So Valentino Rossi now down in 7th place. Bradl and Bautista just where they should be, really. The two satellite Hondas, 5th and 6th. But it's those two.
Obviously they wanted to think if Stoner's not here, they can be up on the podium. But
Tech 3 got something to say about that in Yamaha.
They do, and they're going really well, those satellite Yamaha bikes. There's a little bit of a needle there, of course. Dovizioso's just pulled back a 10th on Crutchlow. Previous lap they were level, pretty much in terms of lap times. Crutchlow just needs to keep his head, because Dovizioso will come strong.
He's come strong at the end of the races,
Only halfway point of the race. So
when he gets a sniff of the podium, Dovizioso, he seems to be able to pull out that little bit extra.
There's a reason why Ducati wanted him at the factory team, and why he was a factory Repsol Honda rider before, of course.
Is there a plan now, do you think, for Danny Pedrosa? Is there a plan for Jorge Lorenzo? Poor old Ben Spies, there's no plan for him.
I think Jorge Lorenzo's plan is just keep going as fast as
possible. Way up, here we go. Danny Pedrosa's taking the lead.
Well, what do we know? Through he goes.
50 quid, please, Ian.
Okay, plan B for Jorge Lorenzo. Now, what happened there?
Well, Pedrosa's sat there. He stalked him. He's gone through. 10 laps to go in the Czech Grand Prix. And the blue touch paper has just been lit.
Oh, great stuff, Lorenzo. Won't want Danny Pedrosa to get away. He might not try to retake the lead straight away, but he's going to hang on to that rear tyre. So, okay, you do a bit of work at the front. I'm just going to hang in there and wait. But brave move by Danny Pedrosa. I thought he'd wait as well, to be honest with you. Did he feel the pace wasn't quick enough and he can go quicker?
I don't think it's so much that, because they're well away at the front. They'll be aware of that. I think he just thinks he can run a pace to run away from Jorge Lorenzo at the front.
Do you know what I think? I'm going to throw another one into that. I think Lorenzo wanted him through there. I think the way Pedrosa went through, he almost sat up as if to say, I'm not quite sure about this. I was sitting tight here. And it just seemed to me as though Lorenzo sat up slightly, as if he wants to study Pedrosa a bit. Risky tactic if he's done it, but just the way he went through then, Lorenzo was cruising almost, as if to say, right, come on, have a go through. And he's right there on the back of him now.
Oh, you could be right, Gav. There's a lot less pressure to follow somebody around at the front than to actually lead the race with somebody breathing down your neck behind.
It's a risky tactic if that is it, but he is right there.
Yeah, risky, but he's had the pace all weekend, hasn't he? I think the risk for Jorge Lorenzo, pretty minimal. He'll prove me wrong now, obviously.
Yeah, it'll be 13 points between them in the championship if this remains the same. But I think there's going to be a few more swapping positions at the front before we can start talking about World Championship points. Up the hill they come into 13 and 14. When they cross the line, there'll be 9 laps to go of this 22-lap race, round 12 of the MotoGP World Championship. And it's just how you want it. The two championship leaders in a mighty head-to-head confrontation.
Very tight between them. What about the battle for third place just further down the straight? Yeah, again, Dovizioso closed in on the first split, but Crutchlow's dropped his pace once more, and the pace is back into the 156s, whereas Dovizioso's still in the 157s. Nick's a little bit giddy.
I am.
But there's still a long way to go, and again, for Dovizioso, he's been on the podium 5 times this year, not by coincidence. Crutchlow has made mistakes on a couple of occasions. Yes. A little bit wide there as well, Crutchlow, just going down into turn 3.
Well, let's be honest, it would be a very special day. OK, we are British, but for British racing, if he could do it, because it's 12 years ago, it's not Jeremy McWilliams.
It's not just that, Nick. He signed a new contract to stay with the team for next year as well. And he's wanted to show people, I deserve this, I deserve the factory bike, I haven't got one for next year, I deserve one. He signed a 1-year contract. And there were lots of talk about going to other championships, about leaving MotoGP, about going to other teams. But he just says it was all bluff, it was all bluster. It was just him making noise, so he got a little bit more cash, and he was always intending to stay in MotoGP, just tugging us all along.
He did a good job as well, didn't he?
I'll tell you what, Jeremy Williams will be gutted if Cal Crutchlow gets on the podium. He's been dining out on that Donington podium for 12 years.
Let's not forget he did take the last one in the intermediate class, didn't he?
He did in the 250cc race.
He'll have to rely on that now, won't he?
I don't know where this one's going to end up at the front. No, I'm going to stand on the fence, sit on the fence, whatever you do. This is a good race.
Lorenzo, I'm not sure whether what he was allowing Pedrosa through, but Pedrosa's pace is upping, and Lorenzo needs to stick with it. Previous lap 56.6 from Pedrosa, this one a 56.4, and Lorenzo's done a 156.6. The gap is opening up.
Is Pedrosa getting the hammer down now with 8 laps to go of the 22-lap race? It would close that World Championship standings to just 13 points. They race through turn 2, down towards turn 3. Both of them have crashed out here on previous occasions. But it's Pedrosa that leads the way. They flick it left and then right, and then plunge downhill between the trees in the forest.
Lorenzo will react, maybe just having a breather lap. I mean, if it goes down to the last 4, it doesn't matter. He will go for it. He'll still be in there, I'm sure. And there won't be much to choose between them as we come down to the bottom, into the stadium section, the bottom of that short hill, into 5 and 6.
Well, it's 7.5 to go. It's going to take a brave man to forecast this. Come on, Ian, you're coming up with another forecast.
No forecast this time. Another theory is mine out the window. Ben Speed back in the pit box. The Texans all injured, which is good news in that crash. But yeah, the reason for him dropping back at the start of the race was he had a slipping clutch till about 2.5 laps into the race. Once the clutch sorted itself out, he started pushing, and obviously he pushed just a little bit too hard, and down he went.
Well, at least we know what was happening there. It was clearly a problem, the way he was sat up there. Didn't want to get in anyone else's way.
You get the feeling Lorenzo's just beginning to push a little bit now, behind Danny Pedrosa as well. Sometimes you can force a mistake from the man in front, can't you? I don't know.
I think more than anything, he saw that Pedrosa had upped that pace once more. He'd been hanging back, just trying to reserve something, and now he's seen he's got to stick with Pedrosa and go with him all the time. Still looks as smooth as anything. 7
laps to go when they cross the line. The 2 championship leaders.
Top of the picture maybe coming through. Cal Crutchlow is 7 seconds further down, 6.5 down, but he's now crucially 2.2 seconds ahead of Andrea Dovizioso, who's just set a 157.5, really dropping back in terms of times, whereas Crutchlow 157.1.
This is Stefan Bradl in 5th place, Alvaro Bautista 6th, Valentino Rossi a bit of a lonely 7th now. He was a lonely 7th in Indianapolis. He's had a bit of a battle in the early stages, Valentino Rossi.
I wonder if he can come back in the last part of the race, but 20 seconds down.
Another good ride by Randy de Punier. Just had a mechanical problem in Indianapolis, forced him out of the equation.
But he's ahead of Abraham and Elias, who are both on prototype bikes. Both on the satellite Ducatis, of course.
Well, they're sandwiched between the 2 Power Electronics Aspar CRT bikes, aren't they? Carol Abraham, Tony Elias, because it's Alicia Spargaro behind them and Randy de Punier in front of them.
Then you've got Yoni Hernandez, who's in 12th behind Espargaro. Then Colin Edwards in 13th place. This was Elias's move on Espargaro. May have the engine on them, but it's definitely not easy to pass these CRT bikes. Ooh, bit deep there from Danny Pedrosa, just at the front. Edwards 13th, Pirro 14th, Ellison 15th. Then outside the points, Pizzini and Petrucci. Silva retired, Ben Speed's crashed out back to the riders at the front on board with Danny Pedrosa.
Didn't we see him do that on the previous lap, Danny Pedrosa? As they bottomed out and started climbing back up. I don't know if it's just the way he actually takes that corner.
I'm sure they both look as happy as they normally would on board the bikes. Pedrosa did a 156.9 on the previous lap, Lorenzo 156.7, and another 156.9 from the pair of them. But this time it's Lorenzo right on the exhaust pipes of Danny Pedrosa. Still Crutchlow in 3rd. He's dropped his times back a little bit there. Dovizioso has improved once more, so 157.1 from Dovi.
I just feel Lorenzo looks a bit more aggressive now behind Danny Pedrosa. Can he line him up when they go left and then flick it right? No, not quite close, but he was thinking about it.
Different lines though.
Yeah.
You notice Pedrosa taking that blocking defensive inside line, able to tuck it, whereas still looks like Lorenzo's coming for a wider line smooth. Now sometimes you go for that wider line when you haven't got the feel to point it into the corner, and so your tyre's not feeling that great, you're going for the wider line, but that's just the way it always seems Lorenzo rides that bike, so it just still looks very comfortable to me, and it looked more like Pedrosa riding a defensive line.
Well, great thing for those spectators on the bank after all that bad weather. They really are getting a race to enjoy. This is through turn 9. This is where it's been interesting on the last couple of laps as we see brilliant slow motion. That is superb.
It's like you're not moving, but you've got a camera there shooting about 2,000 frames a second. So yeah, every second of that is milliseconds really, as they are coming through the final corner on the track. Normally TV is 25 frames per second, and this one is shooting at 2,500, so that's why it's slowed right down when we see it. Amazing, amazing shots. We were out there doing some, just showing how those cameras work with popping balloons full of water, and it's amazing the effects you get.
And throwing water over you, I believe.
Yeah, we'll save that one for another day.
Well,
suffice to say, I didn't get a cold, thankfully.
It's anybody's race. Anybody being two riders, Danny Pedrosa and Jorge Lorenzo. 5 laps to go. 18 points between them in the championship. What a ride by Cal Crutchlow.
Could it be his first podium? 1.9 the gap back to Andrea Dovizioso. He's just got to keep it in there, keep pushing, and he could be in line for his first Grand Prix podium. And for him, that'll be a massive boost after signing a new contract with the team this weekend alongside Bradley Smith at Tech 3 next year. You can see how it's all spaced out, but thankfully the leading duo, as we thought before the race, there is nothing to choose between the two title rivals. It's fair to say now that Stoner really is out of the championship reckoning, which is devastating news of course, but it's going to be a battle between the two Spaniards.
Jorge Lorenzo all over the rear wheel now of Danny Pedrosa with 4.5 laps to go into the stadium section, through the left and then the right, and then it's that long downhill straight into the Swans corner. It just seems that's where Lorenzo's really has closed up on Lorenzo. Let's see if he can do it again. Downhill straight now, Swans corner coming up. It's a very difficult downhill right-hander.
Again Pedrosa just a little bit deep, but this time it's because he wants to get that late apex out of the corner. Down the hill they still go. Very tricky corner. The bike track is falling away from them in there, but he hangs on in first place. Lorenzo still very tight in behind him.
Up the hill they come. Somebody's going to have to make a move soon.
Just while we're waiting for that movement down here with Matteo Marigali, team director at Yamaha. Can you tell us what the problem was for Ben Spies earlier in the race, Fire?
Yeah, after the start, the clutch started spinning a lot, and it took 2.5 laps to start working again. And then when the gap was quite big and he was pushing, and he lost the front from number 8.
Okay, thanks, my friend.
Yeah, just confirming what Ian had told us before. But the other side of the garage now, they'll be watching on in anticipation here. And Pedrosa is pushing again, pushing extremely hard to pull away from Lorenzo on this lap. He dropped his lap times over the previous couple, but suddenly they're going to up once more. Can Lorenzo respond with 3.5 laps to go?
Super stuff. Plunge down between the trees, down towards turn 5, into the stadium section. There's double apex right now, and they flick it left. Fast crowd away to their right on the banks there, enjoying every moment of this. Lorenzo really gets very tight to Pedrosa. This is the left now, the right coming up any moment now.
He's much happier, isn't he, in the corners? It's just when Pedrosa then gets a chance to open it up coming up the hill. That's where he seems to pull away once more, but through the corners, Lorenzo's all over the back of Danny Pedrosa. Down the hill once more towards the Schwanz curve. This is where Pedrosa's just been pointing and squirting it out, running a little bit deep in the middle and just opening up. You think there may be room there, not this time at all.
It's a very, very difficult corner, isn't it? Horrible downhill right.
You'd have to get through before the exit, really, on there. It's not one of those you can really stuff it in front of someone. You have to get right and make sure you've got the exit as well.
Up the hill they come. Now, if this was the last lap, would Lorenzo want to be there? He'd probably want to be a little bit tighter, wouldn't he, to have a go through 13 and 14.
He may be worried because, look, every single time Pedrosa is pulling away just up that hill, every single time. Engines, we wouldn't have thought there's too much to choose between them. Could be something to do with the gearing there, I'm not sure. But Pedrosa has been clocking the top speeds throughout the weekend, around 308 kilometres per hour, just shy of 200 miles an hour. Again, Pedrosa a little bit off the line he would like to have been on through turn 1, allowing Lorenzo to close right back up on him. 2.5 laps to go.
Down the hill they come, down into 3 and 4. Lorenzo not close enough this time round.
No,
he does take a different line.
Completely.
Yep.
Pedrosa pointed that one in a lot sharper, and Lorenzo smoothly round the first part of the S. It's all going to go down to the Y now.
We ride with Danny Pedrosa, number 99, right in his face. It's Jorge Lorenzo through this double apex right.
This reminds me of a race at Jerez a couple of years ago. I think it was in Lorenzo's championship winning year, and one Lorenzo always points out as one of his best that year, when he stalked Pedrosa through much of the race, came through and then passed him. Was it on the last or the penultimate lap of the race down at the dry sack corner, turn 6 at Jerez? Very, very similar sort of race, this one now.
They're on the bottom straight now, this downhill straight down towards the Swans curve. This is turn 10.
We've forgotten everything else that's going on, but behind, just so you know, Cal Crutchlow, 8.9 seconds behind these two, and then Dovizioso is 2.7 seconds down on Crutchlow. Crutchlow is in line for a first ever Grand Prix podium, but he's got another 2.5 laps to finish.
Through the S's at the bottom of the hill. This is where Pedrosa seems there's that little bit advantage as they race up the hill. This could be absolutely crucial on the run to the line.
Yeah, imagine if there was that gap on the last lap. There's no way Lorenzo could get through. So surely what he has to do now is get in front before there on the last lap and then block to his heart's content. 2
to go out of 22. Jorge Lorenzo, you feel, has got to make a move soon. We ride with Cal Crutchlow, 2 laps away from becoming the first British rider to finish on a MotoGP podium for 12 long years.
Andrea Dovizioso comfortably enough in the 4th place. Now the gap 3.5. He's given up the ghost, so Crutchlow just needs to bring that bike home.
Danny Pedrosa needs to bring that bike home. He's just got the small matter, the championship leader, Jorge Lorenzo, right behind him.
Of course, the gap now is 13 points in the championship. They switch round and it's 23. It's the old 6-pointer in soccer when you're there at the end of the season. We're 6 races to go after this one now, and this one can really have a big say in the championship, this race. You really can't underestimate it. 13 if Pedrosa wins, 23 if Lorenzo wins, but look how close Lorenzo is there. He could really touch the rear of Danny Pedrosa's bike if he just reached out.
Left and right through turn 9, downhill straight coming up. 1.5 laps to go here. Round 12 of the MotoGP World Championship. Lorenzo's got to make a move soon. Has he got enough in the tank, or is Pedrosa going to win his 3rd Grand Prix of the season?
They come back up the hill now through the 2 sets of S's. Left, right is 11 and 12, and then the final S on the circuit. Lynn Jarvis watches on. He's the director at Yamaha Racing. Alberto Puch and Mike Leitner. Tension all round. Much closer this time. Is he Lorenzo? No. So he's got to do something through this last lap that's about to come up through the last corner. There is 1 lap to go. 5.4 kilometres, 3 1/3 miles.
1 lap left. You get the feeling that Danny Pedrosa may have got this one. Lorenzo's going to have to make a very, very brave move very, very soon. 2 through turn 1. The little flick now through turn 2. Will he have a go down at turn 3 and turn
I reckon it's going to be in the stadium sections where he's looked strongest. But Pedrosa is pushing to the absolute limit now. Leg goes out for him. Lorenzo just sticking to his own game plan, sticking to his own rhythm. Smoothly he comes through. And as Pedrosa tries to block, it gives him a chance just to close up. Danilo Petrucci just on the inside, but he's seen them. He's sat up, down towards turn 5. This is where Lorenzo's strong, through this twiddlier section of the track.
Yeah, double apex right coming up, and when we've run with Danny Pedrosa previously, he closes right up on him here. Now will Lorenzo make a move? Oh, blocking manoeuvre there by Pedrosa. Lorenzo's gone through!
Through he goes. It was the stadium section for Lorenzo, and now Pedrosa needs to find something. Coming back up the hill. Through they go, 8 and 9, down towards the Schwantz corner. Lorenzo's been thinking about that for the last few laps, but can he make it stick when they go back up the hill? Down to the bottom and Schwantz corner with Lorenzo in front. Pedrosa hits the inside. Lorenzo hangs on.
Half a lap to go. What a move by Jorge Lorenzo, but we've seen Pedrosa may have that little bit extra as they come up the hill. The climb will start any minute now. They're through the S's at the bottom of the hill. Is Pedrosa close enough?
But as we said, Lorenzo is blocking every single line. Here comes Pedrosa now on the drive up towards the final S's. Danny Pedrosa's alongside into the final S, left and then right. But Lorenzo fires the bike in front of Pedrosa. Is he going to run it too deep? He's on the inside, but surely it's Pedrosa.
Danny Pedrosa's surely going to win this race. His second in succession. Danny Pedrosa wins here in Brno from Jorge Lorenzo. What a battle!
Brilliant stuff between the two Spaniards. We said we wanted to see the sparks fly, and they've really lit a bonfire today. Cal Crutchlow takes Great Britain's first podium in MotoGP since 2000, 12 years ago. Andrea Dovizioso is in 4th place, but what a finish! What a finish!
13 points now separate them in the championship. 6 rounds remaining.
Stefan Bradl was in 5th, Alvaro Bautista in 6th, Valentino Rossi came across the line in 7th place. But well done to Danny Pedrosa. Well done to Jorge Lorenzo for getting in front on that last lap. And as we said, it had to be in the stadium section because we saw how strong Pedrosa was. Lorenzo tried everything in the last corner to stay in front of Danny Pedrosa, but it wasn't to be. A brilliant race between two riders who used to hate each other's guts, but now they'll respect each other even more after that one.
Randy De Pune, excellent 7th place for him.
8th place for him, just
8th,
ahead of
sorry,
Abraham in 9th. Espargaro 10th ahead of Tony Elias. And look at that, Nakamoto-san and Alberto Puig down there. Danny Pedrosa can rank that as one of his best MotoGP wins ever, I think.
I reckon he's going to put it right top of the pile. And for the championship, 13 points between them. What a last lap
Look at this drive up the hill, just a left and right to go. Pedrosa has the inside line. Surely Lorenzo's not going to try something. He fires it through on the outside, but that's where he lost it because Pedrosa's got the drive then coming back down the home straight. Oh, that was brilliant to see. Absolutely brilliant. Changed the lead a couple of times, 2 or 3 times on that last lap. Awesome stuff. Look at that. Brilliant. Delight for them. The Repsol Honda team, and so much despair around the team with Stoner not here, and look at Mike Leitner as well. Oh, great scenes.
13 and 14 from a different angle. Jorge Lorenzo almost got into pit lane there, didn't he? He ran it so wide, but he had to do that, didn't he? There was nowhere else for him to go to try and block Pedrosa. But as Gav says, he just got the drive out of the corner. And
he left room as well for Lorenzo through the corner, just allowed enough room for that Yamaha, got on the gas. Brilliant race, absolutely brilliant. Okay, through the race it was very tense and they were there, but it was all building up to that last moment.
Well, it's just what the championship needed. One, we wanted a race like that, and 2, the championship now is getting very, very close indeed.
We can just see what they're looking at as he went through there, but well done to Danny Pedrosa. Look at the smile on his face, the smile on the team's face as well. Yeah. Can we rightly be proud of that?
I'm sure he's going to rank that as his best ever MotoGP victory. He is so pleased. Be interesting to see what Jorge Lorenzo, how he reacts, but what a battle.
Oh,
That's great.
Straight
Fantastic.
away. thumbs up, shake of the hand. Nothing better to see in sport than two people riding at their absolute limits, racing against each other, and then sharing a shake of the hand afterwards.
Cool. I want to breathe in now. That was brilliant. Yeah, super stuff. And I know we keep saying for the championship, but now we look forward to that next round, 3 weeks' time in Misano, because Danny Pedrosa's now won 3 races. He's won 2 in a row. That's the important thing. And as we said at the start of the race, psychologically, I think it was so important for him to beat Lorenzo here, and he's done it.
There's his dad as well. Oh, he deserves it. Deserves everything today, Pedrosa. Great performance. There's Nakamoto as well, getting right in. Lorenzo circumspect. Oh, it looks like Crutchlow may have run out of fuel coming home.
Doesn't matter, he's crossed the line in 3rd place. He's on the podium. What a weekend it's been for Cal Crutchlow.
It has. He pulled it out in qualifying, didn't he? And I think Carol Abraham's just going to help him home here. Just going to get it rolling. That's good. He's a great lad, is Carol. But it's up the hill, that's the problem.
Nakamoto-san has a word with Danny Pedrosa. How did you win that one, he's saying.
Andrea Dovizioso as well.
Well,
so they must have been running very, very lean.
Oh, we've got to get Cal Crutchlow's bike and Cal Crutchlow back into Parc Ferme. Randy de Punier, as you can see, is already there on that Power Electronics Aspar ART bike. He is the top CRT bike in 8th place.
Oh, there he is, coming in now, Crutchlow with Abraham.
I'm just going to grab a quick word with Alberto Puig. Oh, any second now. Alberto, fantastic battle there between Jorge Lorenzo and Danny Pedrosa. But I guess the result you wanted at the end of the day, and it certainly lit the championship up again, hasn't it?
Well, it was a very nice race, I think, and both riders did a great job. But you know, these races, finally one must win them. But I think Danny did a better. Yeah, he was ready to. I mean, Lorenzo was always very fast at the end. But yeah, he took his chance and he was able to win. So we're very happy for all the team and especially for Danny.
I think that's the most exciting battle for the league we've seen this week, this year. And congratulations for the win.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alberto.
Well done, Cal Crutchlow. 12 barren years for British riders, and he's on the podium. And who knows where that's going to end up for Cal Crutchlow, because he has had a fantastic 2nd year in the MotoGP World Championship. Not every result tells a story, does it? Because that was some battle between Danny Pedrosa and Jorge Lorenzo. Well done, Crutchlow. Dovizioso, another good ride by him. Bradl beating Batista. Rossi behind those two factory, the two semi-factory Hondas. And then Randy de Punier still putting it in front of a prototype bike in 8th place with Carol Abraham 9th.
Running out the points there, Spargaro 10th, Elias Hernandez, Colin Edwards in 13th spot. You see it was all spaced out between a lot of those riders though down there. Then was Pirro 14th, Ellison took the last point, and Ben Spies and Ivan Silva the only riders not to finish. Spies of course crashed after a clutch problem in the early stages of the race. Silva was a retirement with an engine problem.
Well, that's what we like to see. 13 points, 6 rounds remaining. It's anybody's championship at the moment. Jorge Lorenzo still in the box seat, but Pedrosa has won those last 2 races. Casey Stoner still in 3rd place. Dovizioso closing on him. It really depends just how long Casey Stoner is going to be out of action. Cal Crutchlow consolidating 5, as does Stefan Bradl in 6th place. Ben Spies in 10th place, and another wretched afternoon for the American.
Well, it was stunning last lap. That one will go down in the history because see them swapping positions. Not often we've got to the end of races right to the last lap when the bikes be still so well matched. It is a shame that Stoner isn't out there. It is a shame there aren't more bikes up there, but those two are just, without Stoner there, in a class apart.
Yeah, well done, Cal Crutchlow. There he is, number 35, the Tech 3 Yamaha. But it's Repsol Honda, and Repsol Honda have won the last 3 races. And we ride with Jorge Lorenzo. And this is where
it's coming
it
up the hill.
all happened.
Coming up the hill now, out of turn 12. Great pickup from Pedrosa. He's so adept at that, getting that bike up straight, attacking, and pulls alongside. And Lorenzo sees that, and he thinks, well, the only thing I have to do here, I've just got to stick it in and go for the outside line, and then hope to have the inside line in the next corner and block Pedrosa. But he knows, even when he lays it down there, Pedrosa's just got the line, got the drive. And look at this, shake of the hands between the pair of them. That's so good to see.
Very
Olympic
clean,
spirit,
yeah,
Olympic spirit from the pair of them.
Very clean manoeuvre by both of them, wasn't it? But what a checkered flag for Danny Pedrosa, his 3rd win of the season. I wonder they're drinking lots of something at the moment, because boy, they must have put so much energy into that one. Great for the crowd. That horrible rain when we came in this morning, you felt so sorry for a big crowd again, but they've been rewarded with a great MotoGP race. Right up there, isn't it, with the Lorenzo Rossi battle in Catalonia. We saw, what was that, 2009. This was just as good. Alex Creville and Mick Doohan all those years ago, game that was decided at this very last
well,
bend.
I remember a last lap here with Gibernau and Rossi.
Yeah.
It was very, very similar. And that time, was it Gibernau that came out on top? Was that 2005? Can't quite remember off the top of my head. Repsol Honda still top, with only 1 rider scoring from each of those factory teams here today. Tech 3 closing in a little bit on Yamaha, you'd have thought. Ducati then in 4th spot with just 7th today. No Nicky Hayden, of course. So factory teams all only had 1 rider finishing.
Let's hope Nicky Hayden back in action in 3 weeks' time. What will happen with Honda? We wait and see. Who will be riding the factory
They
bike?
said they'll know a lot more on Monday when
yeah.
obviously they're testing here, and I wonder if Johnny Ray will get back in time to get out there.
Honda lead the Constructors' Championship by just 10 points from Yamaha. It's a battle that's going to go all the way to the wire, and to them that's almost as important as the Riders' Championship, isn't it?
Definitely something they like to take all of them if they can. You see everyone in Parc Ferme, Cal Crutchlow just doing some interviews. And this was the move from Lorenzo. Look at this, goes for the outside line. Pedrosa's blocking, but he knows Pedrosa's going to run wide. So as Pedrosa tries to come back across, Lorenzo's already there in that part of the track. We'd seen that one coming, haven't we?
Yeah,
He
for about the last
there.
2 laps. A couple of times we were riding on Berlin. Look at him. Oh.
Look in the back of the picture as well. And all Lorenzo's manager and team jumping up and down. But it wasn't ended here. We knew it wasn't going to be ended there.
Valentino Rossi, he'd have liked him a bit higher up, I think, for
He'd have loved
Ducati.
to be involved in that,
wouldn't he? Just, 6 races left for the 9 times world champion on Ducati before he rejoins Yamaha and rejoins Jorge Lorenzo. Yeah, Lorenzo, great battle, he'll have enjoyed it, but he's finished 2nd behind the Hondas in the last 3 races. Can they turn it round before Misano?
I'm a bit worried in one way that they were, in theory, according to our list, that they're using their 5th engines today.
I'm just going to grab a quick word with Cal Crutchlow, if I can drag him away from celebrating with his manager, Bob Moore. Cal, it's been 12 years since we've seen a British rider on the podium in the Premier class. Well, you must be very, very happy with the result today.
Yeah, really happy. I think we deserved it. I think we proved a lot of people wrong, which was one of the main aims for me, as you know. I'm pleased. We signed the contract this week with Monster Energy Tech 3 Yamaha team for next year, and it's a great way to repay them and for them to put their faith in me. So maybe some of us made a mistake for not signing me. So no, we now look forward to the rest of the year, and we can continue on to next year as well.
Well, congratulations for today. Great race.
Cheers, and you, Ian. Great commentary. Great fastest lap, I suppose, running up and down the pit lane.
Thanks very much, Cal.
I tell you what, the 2 faces of Danny Pedrosa and Jorge Lorenzo said exactly what had happened this afternoon. He did not look, he looked worried, didn't he, Jorge Lorenzo?
I mean, I always spend this part of the afternoon now, just before the podium, thinking of the questions that are most. We get one question with the riders for the TV press conference, and it's what's the one question you most want to ask, but we're just going to have to get to talk through that last lap.
I think it's just the last lap, isn't it?
That was incredible. Just thinking back to it now, we knew that Lorenzo had to do something before those final S's because of the strength of Pedrosa coming up the hill.
Full marks to Honda, you know. I mean, they brought out all the new after Mugello, didn't they? They worked hard to bring out a new chassis and a new engine.
There's more out there come Monday.
And it's certainly paid off. They've won the last 3 races. Danny Pedrosa's won 2, and Casey Stoner won. 13 points in the championship. It's a very satisfying walk, one would imagine, wouldn't you, towards the podium for Danny Pedrosa. The team are really happy. That's Danny Pedrosa's dad in the middle there.
Cal will be making it interesting. He tried to steal Jorge Lorenzo's pole position watch.
He did steal it. He had it on his wrist when he arrived.
I wonder if he'll try and steal Danny's trophy.
Yeah. He always makes life interesting in Cal Crutchlow, but he's not 2 seasons into his MotoGP career, and he's right up there with the top boys now. That is fantastic.
Johnny's getting on the podium, one of Danny Pedrosa's mechanics.
For the winning constructor will be presented by Mr. Karl Abraham, the president of the Czech Association.
Cal Crutchlow steps onto the podium for the first time in Grand Prix racing. Jorge Lorenzo into 2nd place, and Danny Pedrosa will step onto the top of the box.
I think Danny Pedrosa will look back on this race towards the end of the season and said this really was the win that put us on the front foot.
He's loving that, isn't he? Up on the podium. There is Cal Crutchlow.
A special day for British race fans. 12 years, Donington Park, Jeremy McWilliams, and Cal Crutchlow now at last is on the podium.
Broken the hoodoo.
Oh, he has.
Jorge Lorenzo, 2nd place for him. Again, not outside the top 2, apart from when he was taken out in Assen. 5 wins. 5 wins, isn't it? And then 6 second places.
But it's Danny Pedrosa, his 2nd win in succession, his 3rd of the season, just 13 points behind Jorge Lorenzo in the World Championship. 6 to go. Close your eyes, Danny Pedrosa, and dream of the 2012 World Championship. It is within your grasp. Oh, I think everybody, Danny Pedrosa's team, the riders, the girls bringing the champagne, just catching their breath a little bit. Now the champagne will flow, and it will not taste sweeter than for Danny Pedrosa and Cal Crutchlow. Jorge Lorenzo, well, it's 60 points in the last 3 races. That should be enough to win you the world title, but when the man who's challenging you is winning the races, it's gonna be close. The championship, the fans, everybody needed a race like that, and Lorenzo and Pedrosa have given us a race we won't forget for a very long time. It's right up there with those last lap confrontations that we've seen in the past.
Vše povinné fotografie and the photographs.
Cal Crutchlow, he's given the champagne to the Tech 3 team. Got to go back for the photographs now. Lorenzo's brought his champagne back with him. Cal Crutchlow hasn't. He sold it. That's Cal Crutchlow's usual reply to most things. But he's shown what a threat he will be, Cal Crutchlow, towards the end of this season. It's certainly not the finish of his podium finishes this year.